You're back on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon. Remember, We Sell Restaurants is the industry leader in restaurants for sale, franchise restaurant resales, and site location for the food service industry. We are currently franchising our brand nationwide and have offices in Florida, Colorado, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. We are lucky enough today to be joined by the Director of Franchising for Wich, Connie Alires, and Michael Rotundo, who is the CEO of Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eric, I think you had a question.
Yes, this is such an exciting show today and a lot of information. If you missed the first segment, it's a big loss, but we'll get right onto it in the second segment. Robin and I were recently at the International Franchise Association's convention, and we talked to some people over there. They had some kind of a matchmaking service for people who are interested in getting into the franchise business. And so would they, I guess, test them and everything like that, and then kind of make recommendation. We know Subway, by working with them in the past, that they're a big believer in testing and the franchisees and looking at all the data and everything. Does either one of your brands have some kind of sort of a testing or measures that you go by to approve your franchisees or qualify them? Mike?
Yeah, we don't have a formal, testing process that they go through. There's several brands out there that or several concepts that do that. We actually just do it internally. We have several different things we look at in terms of their application, the process they follow, their financials. So, we have several things that we look at and score them on each of those categories, but we don't have an external test that somebody takes and then it gives us a profile, and then we look at whether or not we want to approve this person. We've talked about it, but it hasn't been something we've done.
How about you, Connie?
Currently, we do not. However, it's interesting that you asked that question because part of my initiatives for 2014 is to, kind of look into these different companies that do the surveys. And one of the things that I've been really exploring is taking a cross-section of our existing franchisees and really pinpointing what makes a top performer, and then putting together a profile to measure against our top performers based on who we're potentially looking at as franchisees prior to bringing them in. So that's something that I've been actively involved in, for the past few months, and I think it's something that could truly add value and really just, help gauge and say, gosh, here's something that's going to be truly helpful because, the character traits of this individual looks quite a bit like our top performers in our current system. So that's something that's on the horizon and that we are actively pursuing at this time.
So, Mike, do you sort of have a toolbox that you believe is part of the Tropical Smoothie, like a toolkit that you would say is the appropriate for most successful franchisees within your system?
Yeah, I would say that the successful franchisees within our system, it's interesting. If you were to survey our most successful franchisees, I would bet that in the top three things that they would say is, one of the top three things they would say is, I follow the system. That's why I'm successful. I follow the system. So, I think those are the things that really set them apart. They may not need restaurant experience. Our brand is pretty simple. We don't have fryers. We don't have grills. There's no grease trap. It's a pretty clean, easy environment. So they don't necessarily need restaurant experience, but they have to understand how to hire great people, develop them, and lead them. And they have to have a great commitment to operational excellence and unparalleled hospitality. That's really what brings success. So as we look at and interview people and we talk to them about jobs they've had in the past, I don't care if it was a job 10 years ago where you worked at McDonald's, what position did you hold? Did you have supervisory responsibilities? So those are the things. They've got to understand the people side of the business. They have to understand that operational excellence and unparalleled hospitality is key to their success. But we've had franchisees fall out of the system because they said, I had no idea how hard it was going to be to manage 16, 17, 18-year-olds. That's the majority of my staff. I had no idea it was going to be like this. And so that's, again, as Connie talked about, the due diligence phase and talking to successful franchisees, and the successful franchisees are the ones that can find those great young candidates and then mold them and shape them. We have cafes that have had employees for 10, 12 years that have moved up into management and helped them lead multiple units. So those are really the key things. As we look at candidates, we try to assess them and understand, are they going to be able to adhere to those standards?
And Connie, how about a little different question here for you? Do you believe it takes restaurant industry experience to be a good franchisee, and why or why not? That would be a true statement here.
We have franchisees in our system that have never been in the restaurant industry, and we have franchisees that have been in the restaurant industry for the past 20 years. And, we surveyed our system and said, gosh, is there a correlation for top performers versus underperformers on restaurant experience? And the result was there's not. I think the hospitality aspect, and we talk a lot about vibe. If you have experienced Wich, when you walk in the door, it's a different feel. It's a different atmosphere. It's kind of a buzz and excitement. You're kind of expecting a basic average sandwich experience, and from the time you walk in, it's totally different. And people have to really understand how to create that atmosphere and that energy, and so much of just loving what you do and enjoying it and plugging in and, understanding that, yes, you are going to work with 17 and 18-year-old kids, and that, team of IT executives that you manage for the past 25 years are motivated much differently. But just knowing that that's part of it and embracing the culture and the energy of those kids on your team, because guess what? Your guests coming in the door is going to be very similar to the people you have working behind your line. And they have to be able to engage, and they have to be able to understand, how to work and deal and have fun. Sometimes I'll walk into a restaurant and nobody's having fun. It's miserable. And that starts with that owner. Just don't take yourself too seriously. It's, it's a business. It's a huge, huge investment. It needs to be, not taken with a grain of salt, but when you're there, create an environment that's fun and exciting, and people are drawn to that energy and that excitement level. People want to be around that, and I think that's one of the keys to the success of our brand.
Okay, so you have heard it direct from a couple of experts today as the restaurant brokers have taken on the topic of what are those success traits for new franchisees. We have been on the air with the CEO of Tropical Smoothie Cafe and the director of franchising for the Wich concept, both of which are fabulous concepts sweeping the nation right now, and they are both going to be adding many, many units next year. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon from We Sell Restaurants. Remember, you can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Take a minute. Find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants, and check out our Twitter account. We're Sell Restaurants. Of course, we're on LinkedIn as well. We're your industry authority and source for information, and we are the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon.